Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been so long and I feel like so much time passes when I between the time that I post that I feel like I'm a new person every single time. I'm gonna put the camera closer. Okay. So today is gonna be a story time. You guys really liked my paranormal story time, so I thought I would do another one. So this one got the highest votes on my Instagram. Please do go follow me at Sincerely Umi, where I post makeup tutorials. So this story time is gonna be more on the personal side because it's like relates to my family and me. And I definitely will not be like sharing any identifying like names, but if you are in my family and you know who I'm talking about, I just want you guys to please protect the identity of this individual, because it's not about them, it's about me, it's my experience and my story. And if I do say anything wrong or hurtful, please do forgive me, but I do feel like this was a learning experience for me, and I want to share with you guys so that you guys are maybe you gain something from it, or if you're in a situation like this where you have to think fast on your feet, you stay true to yourself and your boundaries and you don't abandon yourself just out of love for another person. All right guys, so let's get right into the video. So I'm gonna call this individual Annie, okay? My cousin Annie. So Annie is approximately just a few years older than me, but we all grew up together. So I don't want to say that I really felt that there was an age difference between us. And by grew up, I meant up until like maybe middle school years. I have like the earliest memories from right before truly our family split. I don't know why everyone likes to act like our family didn't split, but for some reason there was a period of isolation between me and her, which it did affect me as a kid. It did affect me as a kid because when you're young and you're growing up with your cousins and everything, and me and my cousins, we were like, it was like a group of us. It was like a three of us basically. We were around the same age range, and basically I just like always envisioned my future with these girls. I thought we would grow up together, we would like go to college together, and that was kind of stripped away from me when that family split happened. Now I don't know who was the cause of that. I'm not gonna point fingers and say it was them or us or whatever. It just happened, and that's what you guys need to know. So something happened in this individual's life as she became an adult. It was a form of trauma, and it really brought us closer. Now at this point I'm an adult, right? You could say we reconnected in 2019, 2020, right when I came back from college, back to Brooklyn. So when we had come back, I was very open to the idea of rebuilding a relationship with her despite our family history, because I thought, you know what, our parents are old. Like, not like they're old, but like eventually, we're gonna build a life on our own outside of our parents, and we should have each other, we should stick together despite whatever drama it was between our parents that caused that divide between the two of us, ideally the three of us, because they had their issues going on the other side too. I'm not really aware of it. I'm not going to get into it because again, that's beside the point. I want to give the context of like how meaningful this relationship was for me, basically. So one thing I will share about this individual, only because it does relate to like how I approach the relationship, is that she grew up very sheltered. And I would say between the three of us three cousins, her family was probably the most religious, the most. And I respected that, and I thought that, well, I'm trying to get closer to my religion, and I think this will be a good opportunity to connect and go to like Islamic gatherings together, gain Islamic knowledge. And I will say that I did get that from that friendship with her. And so that was a meaningful like meaningful bond between us. And because she was sheltered, I felt that I could like take her under my wing or something and like show her the world, basically, like show her like how to navigate systems, jobs, you know, fixing up her resume, referring her to jobs and stuff, because I felt like, you know what, just because you survive some form of trauma doesn't mean that your life is over. You know, that's how the Bengali community sees it, that like, oh my god, like if something happens to you, like your life is done. No, I just wanted to show her that there's so much more to your life than how other people define it. You can define your own life. And I think that she did get that from me. I think she felt very empowered around me, and I was very grateful for that. So for a while, you could say it was a give and take relationship. In between, there was some falling out. In the past 2-3 years, there was a little bit of a falling out because she kind of ghosted me. She just ghosted me because I was hanging out with the other cousin of ours, and she felt abandoned. And I felt abandoned when she ghosted me, right? Guys, that was lesson number 1. Once someone shows you what they're capable of, please believe them. Please believe them. And if it was anybody else, I would not have befriended her again. I swear. If it was anybody else, I would not have befriended her again. But because this was my cousin, someone that I felt like I lost as a kid, I never really know what happened to her. I reconnected. I had high hopes for us as adults. I thought we could really break the generational like traumas, you know, and rebuild our lives the way we want it. But girl, you have to make sure everybody on the same page to make that happen. Now, I'm not gonna blame her for ghosting me because I don't really know her story. I don't really know what she was experiencing on her end. I don't know, but I know how I experienced it, and that was really hurtful for me because it was like, girl, I took you under my wing. I was hanging out with you when no one else was. You going through all these mental health and family issues, and I'm over here giving you support, giving you outside resources, because I used to work in a trauma clinic, so I had a lot of resources that I could refer her to for mental health. I don't regret that, because if it helped her, that's what matters, right? Things kind of go left when she hits me up again. And I want to say 2021. This is the middle of the pandemic, and she apologizes for, or no, first she hits me up like nothing. And I said, girl, I appreciate you messaging me, but we have to talk. And she said, sure. I said, I want to be free with you. And she said, okay. I told her everything. I told her everything that was on my chest. That's not relevant for this video, but it was like she made plans with me to hang out with my birthday, and then never responded, didn't wish me. After like I wanted to like make it up and everything, she kind of gave this false promise like we would be friends or we would hang out, but then she never made it happen. There was a lot of things that I kind of just openly said, because I'm like, listen, this is somebody that has been through a lot. This is somebody that has been very sheltered, probably lacks social skills, and I can probably help her learn some of those skills and be very understanding, because I saw right through her. Honestly, there was no sneaky shit that she did. I saw everything. I just felt that I could be Captain Saver, you know, and bring people and save people, and we could be like this happy-go-lucky family. No, that's not what happened. So after I forgave her, and like I took her under my wing. Mind you guys, I was a little bit vulnerable 2021 because I had just gotten married, and I was in my, like, this is my first apartment, and I'm not used to like living by myself, and I don't know, I just felt kind of lonely and vulnerable a little bit. So I felt that in that moment, that loneliness kind of got to me, and it's easier to rekindle that old friendship than to make new friends for me. Well, that's what I thought at the time. So we reconnected. Now this is the final time, so I'm sorry guys if you guys are getting annoyed with how much I'm like forgiving her and like not learning from the first time that like, Omi, this is not good for you. Like somebody showing you their true colors, believe them the first time, right? And I don't know if I'm fully explaining myself well because I don't want to give too much detail of like the petty problems that happened between us, but you can tell clearly it felt a very one-sided friendship. I felt like I was giving a lot and not getting much in return, and I was getting ghosted pretty often with no explanation. So that's what sums it up. Anyway, she comes over. She tells me that she has a partner outside of the country. I'm not going to say which country. But outside the country, like literally on the other side of the world. And she's born and raised here. Her whole family is here. So when I first heard this, I try not to judge because I've been in a position where, you love somebody, your family doesn't support you, and you're really looking for a safe space. And a lot of people do like share their experiences with me, like interracial relationship and stuff like that, because they feel safe with me. So definitely I did feel safe with her. I just didn't like how she would kind of only come over here to talk on the phone with him, her boyfriend basically. And so I didn't really like that. And so what I did was I would try to like interject the conversation and be like, oh, why don't you come help me cook, or involve myself in their conversation, because how you just in my house and talking to him, you know what I mean? Definitely set up more boundaries. I became less available, and we would like mostly meet outside and things like that. As some time passes, mind you, I'm not thinking too much of it. So many people have online relationships. So many people are talking like long distance. And then it was a new relationship. So I honestly did not understand how eager she was to get married. She started bringing up the idea of like, Umi, I need a solution to my problem. I said, girl, if it was that easy for people to just come to the US, then like get a visa, then of course they would, but it takes years, and you have to like, there's so many things that you have to consider. And sometimes men abroad, they marry US citizens for papers, and I will say something like this is not unfamiliar to my family. It has happened. So that's why I was like, girl, don't be dumb, we've seen it before. Like homeboy can be really scamming you and all of that. But I didn't say too much of that, because honestly, if he's making her happy, and I actually talked to him on the phone one time and I felt like, okay, he's being sweet or whatever, but I don't know him very well. And again, it's a brand new relationship. I would not understand, like, you guys are still getting to know each other, why you want to get married so fast, right? Actually, at one time, I even asked her that, and she said, oh, it's because she feels that it's a haram relationship. Like, basically, it's against, like, the Islamic rules. You're not allowed to date. You're supposed to just get married. So that's another lesson that I will say. There is definitely, honestly, I'm no Islamic scholar, so you don't have to take my advice, but there is a way to halal date, guys. There is a way to halal date. Like, you don't have to get married to get to know each other. You can talk, and you don't have to video call, you don't have to video call, you can talk, like, get to know each other, convince your family, take your time convincing my family. Like, I don't expect other people to do what I did, but like, I waited years, I really did. I'm gonna make a video about it with my husband because I want him to be there to share his perspective, but I waited 4 years before I married my partner, when I was ready to marry him in month 2, because like, I wanted my family's approval and blessing basically in my marriage. So anyway, after things start give me a second. Sorry guys, my husband texted me. She would only talk about how desperate she was to bring him here and marry him. Okay, that's all she would talk about. And she was very upset that her family, specifically her mother, was not accepting of this, and she felt that there was no way out. She was slowly starting to turn against her family. I could notice a huge shift on how she talked about her mom, her dad, her brother before versus now. And listen, I'm all about calling out like the toxic shit in your family, but I have never in my life encouraged her to not wait for their approval, because I just know how our family is. Like, we're all like up each other's behind, trying to impress, like specifically our parents. They really put us cousins against each other. They're like, they really, I know that if like she did something like elope or behind their back, it would truly be embarrassing for her family. There was one day where I messaged her. You know, at this point we were texting each other frequently, hitting each other up, checking in on each other, being each other's support system. We're in like the prime of our friendship. And so one morning I hit her up. I said, "Hey Annie, how are you? I hope you have a good day, beautiful," you know, something like that. And she goes, "Oh, thank you, Umi. I hope you have a good day too." And as like maybe in the next hour or two, she goes, "Actually, Umi, can I come over in the afternoon?" I'm thinking, oh my God, like, you know, she's gonna come over to hang out. We're gonna order food. We're gonna watch TV, talk, you know, shit and all that. And I was happy because that day Aziz was also home. And you know, while we were dating, they couldn't really get to know each other very well. Again, she's very modest. She is a very woman that really abides by like Islamic rules and things like that. So she wouldn't really interact with him much. But now that he's family, we're officially like, we had our nikah and everything. I thought that maybe, you know, this would be a good time for them to get to know each other because they get along so well. Like I will say, my husband and her got along very well, and those are the things that I miss, and I don't think that I will ever get that back. And it's kind of hurtful when I think about it, but I think God does everything for a reason. Like within 10-20 minutes she was here. I'm like, oh, so she was already on her way. But in the morning she didn't mention anything. We had just texted about an hour or two ago. And so I go downstairs, I open the door. Homegirl is standing there with a luggage. Now, when I see the luggage, I know my family crazy, okay? I just know when I saw that luggage, I was like, her mother found out about her boyfriend, or like, you know, found messages between the two of them or whatever. And, you know, again, it's very conservative, our culture and like our religion. She probably kicked her out. And I'm like, that's the first thing that came to my head. I'm like, girl, like, you can't come here. And yes, I do have an extra bedroom. I'm here right now. I do have a guest room, but I didn't feel like, knowing our history, and this is where I got smart, guys. This is where I got really smart. Knowing our history of her kind of abandoning me and picking me up when it was necessary for her, that reality kind of kicked in, and I was like, I'm not about to risk my life or risk my reputation, my husband's safety, my sanity, bringing in your problems and your drama into my house just because it's convenient for you. Because if it was something that you felt was my responsibility too, you would have told me before you got here that I'm coming with the luggage. Okay, that's the first thing that came to my head. I said, Annie, you cannot stay here, girl. I mean, you could stop by for like lunch and tea and stuff, and we could figure out a plan. But I'm not housing you here because that's gonna bring in more drama. And I just got out of drama, guys. Right before I got married, there was so much drama, you know? So I just feel like at that point in my life, I really needed peace. I didn't want any problems. I don't even know who or who did not approve of my marriage, you know, being interracial and all that. And I didn't want to be blamed for extra shit, basically, extra problems. She come upstairs, and my husband, you know, he's a very passive guy. He's just standing there like this. He's just looking at her like, and I'm just looking at him like, I hope he know how to deal with this because I can't. Like, mind you, remember guys how I said I wanted to take her under my wing? So I was very, very, very gentle toward her, very caring toward her. And this hurts me, honestly. Knowing that I possibly hurt her that day does hurt me, but I'm kind, not stupid. There was very little trust, basically. We sit down. At this point, I'm not cooking. I tell my husband to bring halal food from the halal cart because I'm like, you didn't mention nothing. I've been texting you in the morning. You could have called me. You could have said something so I could have come up with a plan. You didn't give me an option to decide whether or not I want to be in this shit with you. And I'm over here talking like her mother threw her out, because what else could it be, right? She's like, no, Umi, my mom didn't throw me out. I went to the airport to travel to get married outside of the country. I was like, Girl, guys, the shock in my body, the shock, because when they say it be the ones that grow up in the most conservative house that rebels the most, this is a perfect example of that. Because I looked at her, I'm like, where did you grow the balls? Where did you get the audacity, girl? I'm like, no, you didn't. She's like, yeah. I'm like, how you been, like, how did you buy a plane ticket? You couldn't even buy a fucking Metro card in the subway. I had to show you how to buy a Metro card in the subway, guys. This is how sheltered this girl is. Very passive, very quiet. You would not expect something like this from her. So I'm like, how did you buy a plane ticket? She's like, I just did. I'm like, okay. And what happened? So she goes on to tell me this elaborate story of how she's been saving money, which makes sense because the last few times we hung out, I realized she was not spending no money. Even though we celebrated my birthday, I was the one paying for everything. And I thought that was weird. Why would she take me out on my birthday? And then I'm over here, me and my sister's paying for bowling, food, ice cream, and all of that. I thought that was fishy. And I'm like, little girl, now it's making sense. You were saving money to buy a plane ticket to travel. You've been planning this the whole time we've been friends this year. You didn't mention anything to me. Not that I would have helped her, but I would have had the option to say, don't come to my house. I would have had the option to say, don't come to my house. And we all have that right, no matter who it is. We have the right, whether we want to or don't want to invite someone in our space, right? So Aziz comes back with the halal food. And I'm like, girl, you got to tell him. And I never told Aziz about the relationship. I do respect her privacy. I never really talked about it. I said, you got to tell him. Because right now, she said, I have to. I said, yeah, because you in my house and you're bringing all that drama. So you got to spill the beans. You got to open up because I need my husband's help and support right now. So she told him, well, I like somebody and my mom, she absolutely will not agree with it. And I don't know what else to do. I thought about it. I just can't take it anymore. This is my only option. I have to be with him. All this stuff. And he's caught up, and he's like giving her other options. He's like, don't do this. Worst case scenario, you can even apply for an engagement visa. You have that 90-day, some 90-day fiance shit. Like you could come here for 90 days, meet your mom, beg your mom and dad for your hand in marriage, something, so that your parents have a say in what's happening. You can't just make a decision on your own, which, yes, she can. She's an adult. But I tried to convince her in so many different ways. Listen, right now, you're emotionally driven. You're making an emotional decision. And one thing I do not regret is no matter how toxic my relationship was with my family and my parents and all that, I got my parents' blessings and I feel whole in my initiation. I feel like I had a real nice nikah and everything. Guys, she was so quiet. I don't think I was getting through. But again, I really felt that she would not do it. And guys, the only thing that brought her back was the fact that her passport was expired or whatever and she didn't know. So if her passport was expired, she would have just never told me. Like, we would have just never talked about it. I texted you that morning and you responded like nothing was happening. You over here planning on running away to a different country and marrying this random guy that no one knows. Here was the second issue. She had to go home. She had some drama happen where she had someone prepared to carry her bag. And I guess it was an employer or someone. And that person flaked. And that's why she came to me. Okay, I was her last resort because other shit didn't. Her little plan didn't work out. That's why she came to my house for me to have a solution for her. I was thinking that her mom kicked her out and she want to stay here for a few days. I thought that was the problem. No, this is a bigger problem. Here, I have a bag to house. She was asking me and Aziz if she can keep the luggage here so that when she's ready to go again, she can grab the bag and go back. Guys, maybe you don't understand the emotion behind this because you haven't been in the situation, but our family, they have already been through a lot. And I did not feel like her parents really needed this added stress and drama and embarrassment. After everything calmed down, she seemed to, like, I seemed to be getting through to her, guys. Like, she seemed to be like, yeah, you're right. I have to be patient with this. I'm like, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? Like, all of this, I tried everything. She's sitting on the couch and she's like, okay, you're right. Like, I'm like, listen, at the bare minimum, finish school and get a good paying job, save money, because then you could always make your own decision when you have your own money, you know, kind of delaying the process a little bit. She basically begged me to hold her luggage. I told her, if you leave this here, I will throw it in the trash outside. There is no way in hell that bag is staying in this house, because if I keep your bag, that means that I'm helping you and supporting you in your plan to run away from home and elope when I was never involved in your plan in the first place, and you're just here because your plan didn't work out, meaning I'm a last resort, and I feel very, very used because of that. It was a silent moment. It was a silent moment. It was the first time I put my foot down in that way with her. I have never spoken to her like that. I have never been that way with her. I've always tried to protect her, encourage her, empower her, spoil her. Like, I really love this person, and that never changed. I still love you. I still love you. And this person is someone that will always be special to me, and it does hurt me that I hurt her that day. And a lot of you guys might be thinking, like, why does it hurt you? Because, you know, I'm right in what I said. Like, you can't expect me to help you in making that decision. Like, whatever my reasoning was, I never want to be the reason why someone else is hurt or feels abandoned. Because I've been in that situation where I feel like I don't have a family support. I don't have any friends. And she even said that, you're my only friend, Umi. Oh, I'm getting emotional. So, she turned to Aziz and she said, can you please help me? Umi's not helping me.
This is where Aziz basically told Annie that if my wife can't support your decision right now, then I have to stand behind her, and I can't help you keep this bag here either. And she pleaded with him further, and that's when Aziz kind of convinced me to try to find another place to keep it, whether a storage unit or a neighbor or a friend. And then I agreed, because he was really worried for her safety, that if she went home and they caught her with the bag and something happened to her, we would still be a liability in that situation, God forbid. So that was my reasoning for then having no option but to help her hide this bag before she went back home.
No, we were trying to tell her to come clean to her mom. I told her, if she leaves the shit here, I'm calling her mother. She promised me that she would not do it. She promised me that she would not get her passport renewed. She promised me that if she ever made any decision like this again, she would at least try to involve me. And she promised me that she would not do it again. In the end, we decided that she was going to keep it in one of our mutual friends' apartment, okay? And so out of just her, like, being so desperate and not being able to go home with the luggage, that's the only reason we helped her get it somewhere else. But after that, I felt very anxious. I couldn't describe to you that feeling. I'm like, guys, she's gonna do it, and after she does it, she's gonna run away, and after she runs away, everybody's gonna blame me because I was her last point of contact. I'm the scapegoat in this family, you know. Everybody can just, like, see me and think, oh my God, like, she probably convinced her to do this. And I didn't want that burden on me or my husband or my family after everything I just been through. I just fought to have a halal marriage with a guy outside my culture in front of my whole family, and that was hard enough on its own. I was not ready for another emotional battle to fight. She said the earliest she can pick it up is Monday, and I think it was like a Saturday that this happened. So Monday morning, oh, that's the part I didn't mention. I said, well, when can you pick it up? I've been blowing up her phone all weekend. So when can you pick it up? When can you go get it? Because I just wanted out of our friend's hand. I just wanted it gone. And then I wanted to be free of this problem. She put me in under such a stressful situation. Even in the middle of this though, I still tried to have some decency. I told her that I was very sorry that I couldn't keep the luggage in my house, and I know I really hurt her when I said that. And she said, yeah, you did hurt me, blah blah blah. And we talked through it, and we were still texting normally, but I was not going to involve myself with her again because I felt that she was capable of some crazy stuff, you know. So Monday morning comes, and I'm like, so when can you come? She said, I can't come all the way or else I'm gonna get caught because my family tracks my location and they're gonna see that I'm in your neighborhood. And I was like, well, that's bad for me because God forbid homegirl does some shit again. They're gonna be like, well, she's been going to Umi's house a lot lately, sneakily, right? So I'm over here trying to protect my ass and her all in one. And so then we decided we would meet in the middle somewhere between our neighborhoods. We don't live that far from each other. And I said, okay, great, get me an Uber. She was like, and the luggage was heavy, girl. She was like, oh, I can't afford an Uber right now. I don't know if she was telling the truth or what, but I really felt like shit. I felt like shit to her at that moment. You put me through all this drama. You don't have the decency to get me and my husband an Uber to get this luggage to you. Anyway, we got this luggage to her. We see her and I'm pissed. I'm fuming. My husband is very calm. He's very, very calm. He's not mad. He's just trying to deal with the situation as best as he can. And I give the luggage to her and I say, promise me you will never try this shit again. Again, like for the final time. She said, I promise. And that was that. You know, she went her way. I went the other way. Me and my husband went out to eat breakfast and I kind of got like that burden off my chest for a little bit. I was like, wow, like we were on our way to a great friendship after so many years of just breaking off and finding each other again and breaking off. And this had to be like what had to happen for us to kind of break off for a final time, because emotionally I felt that I had suffered a lot at that point. It just felt that she did it. I just felt I didn't feel respected. If she respected me, she would have told me of her plan when she came up with the plan in the first place. Prior to her coming to my house, I never expressed any opposition to elopement. She probably didn't know that about me. I don't know why she thought that I would help her. I don't know. But a couple months go by. I don't reach out to her because I need some time to myself to reflect, and like I wanted out of that. Me and Aziz are gonna go on a date. Her mom calls me. Mind you, her mom never calls me. But I just like picked up casually. I was like, hi, assalamu alaikum. You know, how are you and everything. She's calm. She's like, oh, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. She's like, what are you up to? I'm like, oh, I got ready. I'm gonna go to the museum with Aziz, and then we're gonna go to dinner. We're gonna go to the botanical garden. Like I told her about our plan. And then she said, oh, okay, how is he doing? I said, he's good and everything. She said, oh, is Annie at your house? I was like, oh no, she hasn't been here in months. Like, we don't really hang out anymore. She's like, oh, so you guys don't really talk? I said, no, we haven't really talked in a while. Why? Is everything okay? She said, yeah, everything's fine. I said, oh, okay. So I hung up the phone. And then it hit me and I'm like, oh my God, homegirl better not be missing. Like, homegirl better not be missing. And her mom, well, the first thing she do is call me. My heart started racing. I told my husband that her mom called me. And then right when I'm telling him, she's calling me again. I pick up and now she's frantic and she's telling me everything. She's like, I call her phone all day, like 7 times. She's not picking up. She said she's going to go to her internship. My call keeps going to voicemail. Can you please try to call her? I'm like, oh my God. She did it. She eloped. She ran away. And so I'm like, okay, I'll call her right now. My heart is racing. My heart is breaking for her mom, honestly, because I felt like in that moment, she had to be real desperate to tell me her situation, because how our family is, they try to save face a lot. And I know that it took a lot from her. Because she even told me, like, don't tell anybody. I really felt the desperation and pain in her voice. And her mom really was crying and made me want to cry too. But I know that her mom is tough. I wasn't really worried about her. I was worried about myself and I'm Annie, okay? So I'm over here calling Annie nonstop, blowing up her phone, leaving messages. And if I find the messages, I'll post it, but I don't think I have them because that was my old Facebook. But I was basically telling her, your mom is very worried about you. You better not have eloped. You need to come home right now. You need to respond to somebody's message. You need to tell somebody where you are, because your mother is about to call the cop. Oh, she already called the cops. My aunt had already called the cops. She the police said, well, she's over 18, so we're not gonna like take this as like a child runaway. She, give it like 48 hours before you file a missing person report or whatever. I was thinking, oh my god, they're gonna get a private investigator and they're gonna think that she ran away from home and I helped her. And so I'm like, shit, Annie, you did it. This is what I was afraid of. You put me in a shit situation where now I have to cover my own ass. And I decided I'm not going to try to be sneaky. I'm not going to act stupid. I'm just going to say it. So the first thing I did was I called her mother back. I said, Auntie, there is something you need. Oh, she told me. Mind you, between then, her mother called me probably 4 or 5 times in small increments saying, did you call her? Did you get her? I told her I couldn't get her. I'll try her again. We were going back and forth for a while. And then her mom, she kind of insinuated that like maybe I had more information, She said, do you know anything? If you know it, you need to tell me right now. I didn't really like the tone of her voice, honestly. I just felt like, girl, do not come for me. Your daughter is not who you think she is. She not who we think she is. She has audacity, okay? She is very independent. We do not underestimate what she's capable of. She don't need no help. Her mom asked me, how did she get from the house to the airport? Like, you think your child is that naive? Girl, I did too. But guess what? She knows how to use Uber. She figured it out. Homegirl figured it out. She figured it out. So this is what hurts me, guys. She put herself first in that moment. She put herself first. And yes, I know you're supposed to put yourself first, but not at the expense of an innocent person who has to carry this burden, do all the explaining, and protect herself while you're out prioritizing yourself. You know what I mean? So I said, well, there's something you need to know. About a year ago, Annie did tell me that she had a partner, and her mom got very defensive at first. She was like, well, it was a friend. I'm like, oh, I'm over here breaking the camera. We all know what friend means in the Bengali community. He ain't no friend, okay? Your boyfriend. So I said, yeah, her friend, she, I think she ran away from home because she been talking about it. And to be honest, she came over here with a bag and she wanted me to hold the bag. And I didn't tell you. I'm very sorry about that. But girl, I didn't think she was going to run away. I tried to tell her not to do it again. I made her promise me her passport was expired. I guess she got that renewed. Her mom was like, yeah, her passport expired. How she, like, her mom could not believe she found time to pack a bag behind her back, renew a passport and all that behind her back, and really leave. And I'm not saying she's a bad person, Annie. I'm just saying that she did what it took to do what she had to do to get what she wanted. And we all did not see it coming. We did not see it coming at all. Here my aunt is asking me like, well, where did she get the idea? How did she get the idea that, to do this? And I'm like, she had the idea. She had the idea on her own. And I tried to talk to her out of it. But she's like, oh, why is the phone going to voicemail? She probably on the plane right now, homegirl. So after that, her mom started venting on, like, you know, how could I accept him, because what if he scams her for her citizenship? And I'm like, girl, I said the same thing, and God forbid that's not what happens. Excuse me. But after that, things kind of died down. But my uncle, so Annie's dad, kind of like kept asking my mom this weird question that, like, oh, try to find out more information if you can, try to find out who kind of helped Annie make this decision. And to me, it wasn't direct, but they were insinuating that I supported her in making that decision and helped her, and or somebody in my family did, whether it was my sister or someone that I know of. I don't know what they were insinuating, but it felt like, obviously, like I'm the only person she was talking to. Annie's mom even said it, you're her only friend, you're the only one she's been hanging out with all year. So that's the story, guys. To my knowledge, they're still married, and I do pray for them. I hope they have a good, happy life together, and it sounds like her family's accepting of it now. So all turned out good in the end. But I did block Annie from everything. She's not a person that I will ever speak to again, associate myself with ever again, because I never really got any update, any apology, any reconnection about what happened. And I really had to bear the burden of her decision. I sadly don't see myself ever befriending her again, because I feel taken advantage of, feel that my worst fears were not validated. I tried to get my fears validated when she was in my house. I tried to tell her, like, people are gonna blame me if you do this, and think about that for a second. And she said, oh, why would I do that? Am I stupid? Am I stupid? Why would I let you take the blame? And I'm like, girl, you're not thinking, you're not seeing how your actions might affect other people. So that's the story, guys. I hope I was able to tell it well. I hope it was engaging. Again, this is just my perspective. Please do not come for me. If you're in my family, do not go ahead and show this video to other people, your parents or whatever. This is not supposed to be no gossip type of video. It is just like my experience on what happened, what I learned from it, and I wanted to share that with the world. It will stick with me for a long time, because you never forget your childhood friends. You never forget the person that you thought you were going to be growing up with, you know? And I do think about her often. I hope she's well. I will never wish bad upon her. But I'm going to wrap up this video, guys. I'm going to have more story times on my channel, because I feel like it's an easy type of video to make. And I don't mind putting, like, my stories out there in the world, especially if there's stuff to be learned from it. But if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, leave me a comment. If you leave a nasty comment, I will just block you. That being said, I'll see you in my next video. Love you. Bye. Mwah.